In our last lesson on Dscope, we learned how to set up status definitions and the associated colors, as you can see here. Now, in future lessons, we'll go over importing deadlines from sources such as Excel files or calendar ICS files. Now, more often than not, there won't be statuses or obviously status colors associated with each one of those deadlines. And as you can tell, the default color for all imported deadlines will be black. Now, of course, I can hover over each of those deadlines and understand what the actual deadline is. And in principle, I could go through each one of those deadlines and with a lot of patience, assign individual status colors and save them and change them over time, as you can see here. However, there's a much quicker way to do this. Whenever I import a series of deadlines that do not have a status assignment, I use what's known as the quick status assignment button up here, the little lightning bolt. I click that and it will provide a list of all deadlines that do not have an associated status assigned. At the top here, I can see three buttons which correspond to my three status definitions, and it will import whatever status definitions you've defined before. And I can go through this list now and start ticking boxes, and I can do this in any order I like. It doesn't have to be in any particular sequential order. But however, whatever boxes I tick here and whatever deadlines I tick, I'm going to want to assign them with the same status. So let's say all of these are considered to be at risk. So I click those, and all of these are labeled at risk right now. So they've been assigned that so I can see in that list. Now I can go through some other deadlines. Let's say I want to call out the ones that are actually not started yet. Now those have been labeled. And finally, I can go through and do some of the deadlines that have actually are considered to be on track. Now, I don't have to go through all of the deadlines at once, but these in the meantime have all been assigned a deadline. Now, let's suppose that I actually realized that this one I was incorrectly labeling as not started, where it should be on track. No problem. I tick that box and I change that to on track. So now I've changed the status, and you can do that with as many of these as you like. Now, these actually have not been assigned to the deadline markers yet. They're still on this list. In order to actually assign them, I click this assign status button, which tells you how many of these deadlines in the list have actually been labeled with a status. This counter here tells you how many are still unassigned and how many I've assigned already. Now to go ahead and get these colored up as deadline markers, I click assign status and they will disappear from the list. And when I check back, I will see that they have now been colored, and these deadline markers now reflect the assigned deadline statuses. And I can go back, and again, it will show whichever deadlines are still unassigned, and I can go back and assign those statuses and eventually populate all of the graph. The plots, the deadline markers, sorry, will still be there. Um, they just won't have colors. The statuses can be assigned over time, and eventually they'll all have an assigned status color.